The ANC is the oldest liberation movement on the continent with strong links to other parties around the world. The ANC's election performance sent shockwaves across the continent, and many are still seeking clarity on how the government has been constituted.
We will meet a party that we would have expected that it will be fine to work with us, but as we meet with them, they'll say, have you invited that other party? For example, meeting with the PAC, and the PAC say, don't leave the Freedom Front behind. They are the PAC of the white people. And the Freedom Front say, don't leave the PAC, because both of them felt it is important that we start talking and we start engaging as a nation. And they saw this as something that in Afrikaans they call it what? A toenadering, a coming together of minds on a common issue of land. And that's one of the things that was quite interesting. And as we worked on that, we also agreed that the spirit that says a party that has got the majority of the number that is higher than all other parties, must invite others to form a government, even in provinces. And that was the understanding and the commitment from the ANC. We went ahead with that understanding, and whilst we were still discussing and negotiating, some provinces were moving on. And we had other parties that had said, we want to work with you, but we don't want this other party. But when they went to the other provinces, the first province to put together the legislature was the province of the Northern Cape. In the Northern Cape, the ANC had Comrade Zamani Sol, who is our current premier and the chair of the ANC. The Democratic Alliance, working together with the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, I don't know the full name, EFF, yes. The Democratic Alliance that said it does not want to work with the EFF in our discussions, worked together with the EFF to put together a candidate against the ANC in the Northern Cape. The Freedom Front Plus voted with the ANC against the EFF and the Democratic Alliance. And today we have a government of the ANC, because the Freedom Front Plus resolved that it is just supporting the ANC. It has no ambition of being in cabinet in the Northern Cape. That's why the ANC is in charge of the Northern Cape. We proceeded, as the ANC, we accepted that parties have a right to relate and stuff, and therefore these conditions that were put to the ANC to say we don't want to work with this party. Interestingly, when it goes to other provinces, the same parties are prepared to work against the African National Congress, united, including putting a common candidate for premiership.
She has also dismissed criticism that the party did not work hard enough to ensure that parties such as MK and the EFF participate in the executive.
We met with many other parties, and amongst others the MKP. And when we met with the MKP, one of the things we said, let's agree that we will resolve these issues continuously, especially issues around your policy and what to think of the Freedom Charter and so forth. But let's meet when we get to Cape Town, because everybody was going to Cape Town. Members of Parliament were going to be sworn in. And the MKP never came back. They asked for a caucus, they never came back. They were not there in Cape Town on the first day when all of us were there. They were sworn in after. So they were no longer interested to interact with us on the statement of intent.
The diplomatic missions welcomed the engagement.
The international policy of South Africa, there are some issues where also worried about it to know is it going to be the same policy?
I think it was fruitful. I think it's very useful for the political parties to reach out to the international community, to explain where they are, to explain where they want to go, to explain what the GNU intends to do with the international community. So I think it was very useful also for us to get a feeling where things are and where we can come in as partners and friends for cooperation.
Meanwhile, analysts believe it is going to be a tough 5 years as President Cyril Ramaphosa tries to ensure that the government of national unity is stable.
I think what the ANC did strategically was to lock in a few principles within the statement of intent of the GNU around issues of foreign policy. So it had a very specific paragraph around the contours of South African foreign policy. And those are areas that I think most political parties can agree with. They may disagree on the specifics of how that foreign policy is carried out. But I think, the ANC, having governed for 30 years, has had a significant impact on shaping the contours of South African foreign policy.
The ANC Secretary General will soon host his counterparts from other liberation movements. Sophie Mkwena, SABC News, Johannesburg.